A lot to go over in today's video. We have the free square in MMA. We also have an esports protected play here, and we have Champions League finals tonight. So I'm going to be going over picks for all of those things in tonight's video. But first, let's recap last night's picks. We went for this stack in the Edmonton versus Dallas game, as well as JP Sears. JP Sears cashed alone, but the stack over in Edmonton did not hit. There was so many opportunities for goals within this first 9 minutes if you guys were watching the game. But unfortunately, the first one was scored about 13 minutes in, and we did not hit this stack. But we're going to be making a very similar stack to this again tonight, because this is pretty much the best thing you could do in the NHL right now. So I'm actually going to start the first slip as a 4-man NHL slip, and this is actually a carbon copy of what we once took in, I believe it was game 2 or 3 of this Florida Panthers versus New York Rangers series. We went with Panarin on his over half an assist. We went with Barkov on his over half an assist. Then we went to Chris Kreider and took his over half a point, as well as goal allowed in the first 10 minutes on the over. This is super correlated, and I'll compare this price that you're getting. You're getting a 10x on Prizepicks compared to the sports books, but let me explain the individual picks first here. So to start, Panarin is very correlated with Kreider. These guys are not on the same initial line, but they do play on the same power play. They're both left wingers, so when you see in this first power play unit, you're going to see Chris Kreider at left wing and Panarin at right wing. An assist is just any second guy who touches the puck after a goal. So if Panarin passes to Trocheck and Trocheck passes to Chris Kreider, for example, and Chris Kreider scores, that would be a point for Kreider, because a point is a goal or an assist, and an assist for Panarin. Another way to think of it is if Panarin passes to Kreider, Kreider passes to Zibanejad or even Trocheck, and those guys score, then that's an assist for both these guys. So they both cash within that same goal. And on power plays is something you see very often. There's normally going to be at least 2 assisters on that power play goal. When there's only 5 guys on the ice at that time, it's very likely that your 2 main guys are going to be getting those points in that specific play. So yes, we're hoping for power plays, but overall, if the New York Rangers are scoring, this prop is also more likely to hit. The goals allowed in the first 10 minutes. And the last time we took it, exactly what we wanted happened. Basically, the Rangers ended up scoring. Panarin ended up being on the assist of that goal, and it happened within the first 10 minutes. I can't remember if Kreider was on the end of that goal, but I do remember that Panarin did cash with this same prop. So technically, you could have these 3 props right here all cash within the same exact goal, and it can happen within the first 10 minutes. Obviously, if there is no goal in the first 10 minutes, this is completely chalk slip right away, but this is the more likely thing to happen than not, so that is why we're going with this. Again, I'll show you the juice in a little bit. Now, Barkov on the over assist does have juice towards the over. Again, I'll show you that. But now we have exposure to the Panthers. So since this is a New York Rangers or Florida goals against, it doesn't matter who scores in this game. As long as win the first 10 minutes, it cashes. So in this case, if Barkov ends up getting an assist, that means the Panthers scored. We're hoping that happened within the first 10 minutes. So we have the opportunity for the Rangers to cash this prop down here, and we have the opportunity for the Panthers to cash this prop down here. So it's double-sided. So we really don't care who scores within the first 10. We just want at least 2 of these props to hopefully cash within that first 10. So let's go build up this exact slip on a sportsbook, because this is where you can see how much better pricing we're actually getting on Prizepicks for these specific 4 props compared to a sportsbook. Go over to Bet365 same game parlay. You could do this on DraftKings, do this on any other sportsbook that you guys are familiar with. We're going to go and fill up this entry. So I'm here in the player assist. You're going to notice right away Barkov minus 125 juice towards the over, only minus 105 on the under, meaning the over is of course more likely to happen. Now for Panarin, you're going to see actually juice towards his under. So minus 125 juice on the under, minus 105 on the over. That means if you're isolating Panarin and putting him on a slip that's completely uncorrelated, the under is actually the play. Now this is the one time I'll actually go against the juice. I would normally never do this, but since we're so strapped for players in the NHL, you're kind of forced to take Panarin. There's no other assister on the Rangers that I could take on that Prizepicks board. So I'm okay with taking this prop because of how correlated it actually is with that first 10 minutes prop, as well as Chris Kreider. I'll show you this as I build up the slip. We're still getting great value on this. So minus 125 juice on the under. You hate to see it, but you're kind of forced to play it. So that is why I'm taking his over. Now the good news is Chris Kreider, who's the second player we're taking on his points, does have juice towards the over. And you'll see if I take minus 125 Chris Kreider and I try to pair him up with Panarin, you'll see I get better value on the over. I'm getting plus 200, meaning it's more likely to happen than plus 275. If I were to take over player points on Kreider and under on Panarin, we're not getting as good value. So despite the fact that it's heavily juiced towards the under, because of that correlation effect, you have to be thinking how likely it is for both these props to hit rather than just thinking Panarin on his own. So that's exactly why I'm okay with taking Panarin on his over despite the fact that his under is juiced. Now lastly, I'm going to show you the actual total. And if we go to first 10 minutes, again, minus 140 on the over. I believe this has now hit 3 out of the 5 games. So it happens more often than not that there will be a goal within that first 10 minutes. And you see that with the juice here, minus 140 on the over, plus 100 on the under. Again, I'll show you on a no-vid calculator, 53.85% chance that it goes over that first 10 minutes. I know it's super frustrating if there is no goal within the first 10 minutes because then the slip is completely chalked. But trust me guys, it's way better to go on the over here than the under. So let me combine all these props together. We grab the over half in the first 10 minutes. We also grab Panarin on his over assist. And we're going to add that up with Chris Kreider on the over points, as well as Barkov on the over half an assist. And you're going to see this pays $100 into $800. Now, of course, this is without taking out the juice. It's probably fair odds of $100 into $900. Basically, this happens about 1 in 9 times rather than the 1 in 10 times that Prizepicks is paying us. So essentially, if you're paying this 9 times, you could expect to win once, which means you're going to profit over 10 slips because you're going to make that 1 extra unit of profit. We're getting 800 return here on Bet365 into 1,000 on Prizepicks. So again, this is exactly how you know you're getting value. It's pretty easy to understand if you guys do know hockey. Of course, Panarin is going to be correlated with Kreider. Kreider is going to be correlated with goals allowed in the first 10 minutes. And Barkov is also correlated with goals allowed in the first 10 minutes. That is why we're getting such a good payout, because the sportsbooks are penalizing us for this, while Prizepicks is still giving us a 10x when they technically should not be. So that is going to be the first slip. I've explained this in multiple videos, and we have already hit one exactly like this, and we've played probably 5 or 6 of these. So we're definitely up on these. Let's see if we can cash another one tonight. And now we're going to go over to the MMA, and I'll show you guys 2 strategies we could use with this free square. So obviously this is an absolute luck. It's just one significant strike that is going to happen unless he gets KO'd in his first punch. But either way, Prizepicks would still honor the half a significant strike and pay you out. That's besides the point. If you want to just make simple money and you want a guaranteed way to make money, I never say guaranteed, but this is literally guaranteed. You go on literally any prop you want. It does not matter. And since you're only allowed $25 on the promo prop, you put half your money at $12.50 on the over on Ranger Suarez, for example, and then you go and make another slip with half your money on the under 5.5 pitcher strikeouts. Of course, Suarez is either going to go over or under. And since this one is a lock, you're going to cash 37.5 minus your 25 investment and make an easy $12.50. So you understand how that works? 12.5 on this slip with the under, 12.5 on the other one, and you're cashing one of them for 37.5, meaning 12.5 profit. Now, if you're really strapped for cash, I mean, go for that. That's a free $12.5. What I normally like to do is make triple stacks with the free square, and I go over to MLB. Basically, you go to any team that you think is going to do really well or has juice on their over hits, runs, RBIs, and you stack them up. So let's say the Pittsburgh Pirates, for example. If I grab these 3 guys together, I'm getting a 9x. So yes, it is nerfed. But if the Pirates are doing very well and go on for run after run after run, they're going to get more at-bats for all 3 of these guys. And of course, if they're getting runs, they're getting RBIs, they're getting hits, and all 3 of these guys are more likely to cash together. And I can show exactly how this works. Again, we're going to compare it to a sportsbook. So if I max out this for 25, they're still going to play me 225. Like I said, you get that 1x nerf compared to the 10x because of how correlated these guys are together. But remember, 25 into 225. On a sportsbook, we're putting 25, we're getting 118.75. Yes, that's only with 3 props, but the half significant strike is a free square. So you're still getting great value. You're getting an extra $100 from playing this on Prizepicks with the free square. So that is very good to see. I mean, honestly, I like this Pirate stack here. If you guys are watching this before 3 p.m., you could go and put this exact one here. Connor, Joe, Edward, and Gonzalez. So a stack that's also good is going to be on Manny Machado here on his over 6.5 hitter fantasy score. And we're going to sandwich him with 2 players close in his lineup. That's going to be Profar on his over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs, as well as Merrill on his over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. So the expected lineup for San Diego, we got Profar expected to bat 3rd, Machado expected to bat 5th, and Merrill expected to bat 7th. They're all at least 2 batters within each other. So Machado could run in Profar, for example, and Merrill could also run in Machado. That is something you'll likely see in this game, especially if there's a lot of runs. It's also expected to be a bit of a higher pace game in terms of runs. The Padres are one of those top teams in at-bats. You can see right here, they're actually number 1 in at-bats. They're also number 1 in hits and in runs. You know, they're not number 1, but they're still up there at number 8. So it's definitely great to see when you're grabbing overs on a specific team. On top of that, of course, the juice is looking very nice on Merrill here, minus 130 towards the over, as well as Profar minus 125 towards the over. Now, Manny Machado doesn't have a hits plus runs plus RBIs prop. We're taking his hitter fantasy score, but he also has juice towards the over on that specific prop if we were able to take it. But instead, we're going to go with the hitter fantasy score, and we're going to lock this one in as the second slip. Again, only pays 9x, but very good because we have this free square. Now, CS2, very quickly, we have the protected play. I'm pretty sure every single person has this. If you have not used it already, this is a pretty good slip to use. The only problem is this starts at 2 p.m. Eastern. This video is probably getting up at like 1:30 Eastern. So you could remove these 2 guys right here, and you can make a 4-man with these 2 guys here, Simk and Dex in Ruby versus Zero Tenacity, and then you could grab Buddha and Mona SC. These games start a bit later, so you might be able to get these ones in. If not, I mean, just make a 2-man, I guess, with the protected play on Buddha and Monesi. I don't really have much esports for you guys, but if you're watching early enough, you could go and put this protected play in here. Now, last thing to go over is Champions League finals. We got Real Madrid versus Dortmund. And honestly, all you got to know in soccer is the correlation between passes attempted between teammates. You are allowed to take 2 guys from the same team under, over, or under passes attempted in this case. And the reason this is very correlated, I don't know if a lot of you guys watch soccer or if you're even going to watch this game, but all you have to know is, like in the NHL, they play in triangles. I'll show you the expected lineups here. For Dortmund, we have Emre Can at right CM, and we have Schlotterbeck at left center back. But these guys are going to be playing in squares throughout the whole game. Especially when they're trying to look for plays, they're going to have their midfields kind of running around, and these guys are going to continuously pass in between each other. They're very close to each other on the pitch, so they're going to be playing in those triangles, and they will be racking up their passes together. Schlotterbeck passes to Can passes to Hummels passes to Sabitzer to Emre Can, and they stack up their passes together. Same exact concept if you were to go over to Real Madrid. We have Toni Kroos and we also have Rudiger on their specific props. They're going to be playing in triangles. So Toni Kroos playing center mid, Antonio Rudiger playing left center back. So if they're playing in triangles between Nacho Fernandez and Toni Kroos, they're going to be passing like this over and over and over again. Or maybe they're playing on the left side, they're going to play with Mendy, Camavinga, and Rudiger, go to Kroos. Basically, everything is playing in triangles, at least for Real Madrid. And for Dortmund, you could think of them playing in squares. So long story short, what does this mean? Basically, if one guy's going over the passes attempted, it's very, very, very likely that his teammate is also going over his passes attempted. So simple way to take advantage of this is exactly what you see on your screen right now. You grab the overs, and you see you have a slight payout nerf like this because it is very correlated. That's going to happen with all things that are correlated on Prizepicks. So although Real Madrid is supposed to be winning this game, they are the heavy favorite. I still like the over on Dortmund because if Dortmund is getting an early goal, they're going to want to hold possession for their dear life because they know that they're the underdogs coming into this. They're going to have to play very smart and conservative, and when you're playing smart and conservative, you're passing a lot. So if these guys do get a goal ahead, you're going to see these guys cash very easily. And the same thing goes for Real Madrid, honestly. Like, you're going to be passing more when you're more comfortable, when you have that lead. There's no reason to rush plays. If you guys have played soccer or watched soccer, there's absolutely no reason to go all in and waste your energy. When you have that lead, you're comfortable, especially throughout the end of the game. If it's like a 2-0 lead for Real Madrid, you're going to see both these guys cash under over because they're going to want to slow down the pace and pass more often. Now, on top of all that, because this is the finals game, there is overtime. So if after the 90 minutes, it's tied, they're going to go and play an extra 30 minutes no matter what. It's not golden goal. It's another 2 halves of 50 minutes. Obviously, you're getting another 1/3 of that game added on to the game that you already had. So that's more opportunity for passes. But you do have to consider substitutions. Toni Kroos is getting old, man. This guy's 34 years old, and he has been getting subbed off pretty much every game in this Champions League series, even in the semifinals. And you could see versus Barcelona, he has not even clocked in over 80 minutes. That's a bit concerning when you're grabbing the over in this case. If he does get subbed off, you know, tough luck. In soccer, when you're getting subbed off, you do not go back on. So that's pretty detrimental if you're taking the over on the passes attempted. So he said at 85.5, and he did clear it last game, but look at all the other games. 79 passes, 38, 53, and 69, and he was subbed off early in each of these games. If he does get the full 90 minutes, I do think he would cash, but at 85.5, I don't think it's worth the risk. And if you go and compare this to any sportsbook like Bet365 and check the passes prop, you're going to see it's set at 80.5, and we're getting at 85.5. Doesn't seem like a lot, but 5 extra passes is going to be the difference. Especially if you're taking passes prop before, you know, sometimes you really only win by like 1-2 passes attempted. So I'd actually go with the unders on Real Madrid because I could show you the same thing for Rudiger. You go check what his passes are set at. It's 54.5. We're getting 3 points extra on Prizepicks. You want to be on the under. Now, I would say we're pretty much screwed if this game does go to extra time because Rudiger will cash this. Like I said, Toni Kroos, I doubt he's going to play extra time. That's not going to be a worry. But we want both these guys to cash together, right? Because we're going to be putting this into a 4 power. So I'll say this now, if it does go to extra time, which it shouldn't. Honestly, Real Madrid should win this game easily. The Rudiger prop would definitely be less likely to cash in that case, but I still think it's worth the risk to go on the double unders. I do think they're set a bit too high. This is Rudiger's game log here. In 90 minutes, he clocked 60 passes in this game. 43 here, 37 here, 41 here, and 43 here. And this was actually in a game where he did clock in 120. Matchups matter way more in soccer than any other sport. It's going to completely affect how many passes you're getting. So honestly, I can't really look at these past games as an indicator of anything. But I just want to bring it up that an additional 30 minutes could definitely hurt us since we're grabbing an under. I'm not going to put these guys all in the same slip. I'm going to put this into 2 4 powers because you're going to see 8.5x payout if I do put all 4 guys in the same slip. Why? Because if Dortmund would be going over the passes attempted, well then Real Madrid's less likely to go over their passes attempted. So I'm not going to put in the same slip. I'm going to end this slip off with 2 positive EV props. I'm not going to get into details, but the first one's going to be Orlando on his under half a hitter strikeout. And you'll see on the OddsJuice dashboard, we also have Mitchell Parker on his under 16.5 pitching outs. That is going to be the second prop. So we're going to go and grab that. Etch this one in. This is going to be my official Champions League slip. Like I mentioned with the other guys in soccer on the passes attempted, you would want to go on a double under, and you could do what you want with this. Honestly, I'm running out of props, so I don't want to force another 2 props to throw into the slip. But you guys could go and throw another 2 of your favorite props, maybe from this video or just ones that you found on your own. So those are my plays for tonight.